Hey, it's Bret Martin. How's everyone going? How's everyone doing? It's Friday night. It's part 3 of my cancer / overcoming adversity, kind of a marketing video, I guess. Yeah, you can still see I still have the cancer tube or the feeding tube. I'll have it in me about, they're saying maybe 6 months, even though I've only got 4.5 weeks, or actually 4 weeks. Today was my 3rd week. So I've got 4 weeks left of chemo and radiation. See the drip, the chemo lines are still in. How are you doing? And so what I wanted to talk about was just adversity itself and what I ran into this week, because I know that a lot of you ran into very similar things to me. I mean, you had your life come up, whether it be, kids that you needed to get to the doctor, or a wife or a husband that needed to get to a doctor, or, maybe you've got money issues, or maybe you've got school issues and you weren't up to snuff in your work this week, or, maybe your 9-to-5 job is just a dead-end job for you and your mind's just not in it. And so I wanted to just talk to you about attitude and in it to win it, and coming in and out of it, that balance that it takes. So let's start my week off. Let's go back. I spoke to you last weekend. Was still eating full bore like a horse, and really hopeful that I would continue to eat. But of all things on the face of the planet, Tuesday night, I aspirated food down to the top of my lung, and within 56 minutes, I was ambulanced over to Asante Hospital in Medford, Oregon, and spent 2.5 days in ICU with what they call it was pneumonia, but it's aspirated pneumonia. So I aspirated food into the top of my lung, which at 60 years old, just to let you know, it did go septic. I almost died twice that night. But the bottom line is you get to recover really well from it. So I was able to get the food cleared out with the antibiotics. And so I was on drip antibiotics and the standard items that they give you in the hospital, for keep you hydrated. And then now I'm just I'm home. I got home today. Today's Friday. I got home. Oh God, no, actually I got home yesterday. I got home Thursday, and I got home Thursday probably about 1:30, 2 o'clock. Now what's really cool, what was amazing was that they actually picked me up in an ambulance and took me over and did my individual radiation treatment both mornings, even though I was in the hospital with aspirated pneumonia. So I didn't miss my chemo. I didn't miss my radiation. I had aspirated pneumonia, and, many of you got answers from me. I was in the hospital. I wasn't able to teach 2 mornings in a row. I apologize to those already about that. But class was held. We held a recording. And then went through, we had about 6,500 applicants this week, went through them with my staff and did my part in that. And, I put in, I started at about 8 o'clock today and put in probably, it's 8:19 p.m. Friday night. I put in an 8, 9, 10 hour day today. My son came by, him and his wife, or girlfriend, and with the dogs, and stayed for a little bit. They came down from Portland to visit. And then I just kept working off and on and got my new medicine. I've got multiple more medicines I'm taking for the antibiotics now, 2 different types of antibiotics. And so I'm in an environment where I'm getting caught up to this evening. So a lot of you are getting email invites from us to the next classes, or you got graduated and I reached out and congratulated with you with the graduation, whether it be one-on-one call or whether I was able to email some of you. But Anyway, I appreciate you, those of you that hung in there. There's a lot of you that worked really hard this week to get your goals met. A lot of you are working part-time somewhere else or doing something else, and you had to listen to the recordings, and that's okay. I mean, that's the the mustard seed. Whatever you do, my recommendation is don't lose that momentum. Things get in your way. I mean, my God, pneumonia got in my way this week, just like the cancer has been in my way now, really probably for about 3 months in preparation for what I started 4 weeks ago. And yet, here I am still working. Can you work from home? Yes, work remotely, folks. I mean, come on. And you can work in 10-minute intervals and still be incredibly productive at this. 15-minute intervals, 5-minute intervals. I mean, it doesn't take very long to make a phone call, land one of these pieces of business, or get a no. I mean, you get a no, you're going to get that no within 30 seconds to a minute or less. And so keep the thick skin. I recommend you keep the thick skin. But I mean, something was said to me today by a group of people at the hospital, my doctors, as I was leaving radiation, and the comment was made to me that, where does this optimism come from that you tap into? Well, I've been tapping into this since my 20s and 30s and 40s, trying to figure out how to make it through the day without anxiety taking over my life every day and ruling my life and keeping me from being productive as a mortgage broker for years, and then in this industry, especially in 2000, 2007, 2008, 2009, when I was producing, and then as the CEO. How do you keep your head in the game? I think you keep it real from the standpoint that the bottom line is that none of us are really working 16 hours a day, 20 hours a day. It's just a lie, but you got to be effective when you are working. So put the time aside and be effective during that time. So it has an effect on you that's not derogatory, that is positive. And I think that's what's happened to me over the years is that what do they say? Bring the body and the mind will follow, or fake it till you make it. I mean, there's so many sayings out there that are the good ones. I'll blow it. But, there's a Denzel Washington speech going around with him at the pulpit there at the college, and like a college graduation situation. And one of the things that he says is, we're doing more, but we're not getting more done. And I see a lot of that going on with our crew out there. About 35-40% of people are doing more but not getting more done. And interestingly enough, they feel like they're getting something done, but then as I do a monthly review or a quarterly review with them, or a semi-annual or an annual review, they're like, God, I just waste so much time. So much time goes by from a marketing standpoint that I could be doing and that I'm not doing. And what am I doing wrong? And I get, I don't know. I would venture to say I got a couple hundred probably emails this week. Help, anything from help. What can you make any suggestions to? This is what I'm doing. What am I doing wrong? I mean, making an effort is the key. Making an effort is the key. You got to toe the line. You got to make an effort. Whether it be the black envelope, you send it out. I was talking to him the day about the black envelope, and I said, you just sent them out 2 days ago. You've got to wait 5 to 7 days before the answers start to come in, and they'll call you. I mean, they just will, folks. It's what they do, and you can always follow it up with a phone call in the event they haven't called you. And the beauty of it is, you don't have to make a big deal out of it. You can just say, hey, have you seen the black envelope floating around? I go over that in class 2. You're welcome to go back through class 2 and listen to that. And then at the beginning of class 3, I typically go over that also, how to make that call on the black envelope. But as far as that goes, just set your time aside and bide your time and be kind to yourself. Be loving to yourself in a world where people can be so shame-based and so guilt-laden guilt laden over the fact that they, didn't do what they intended to do today, whether it be, mow the lawn or go to the store or help the wife out or the girlfriend out or the husband or, the partner out or the children out or even yourself with your goals. And so what I've found, I mentioned this recently in one of my most recent videos with you folks, this cancer series, going through this. I said I'd keep in touch with you. I promised you I would, and I'm going to continue to do that. But what I found with people is there's a lot less forgiveness nowadays, a lot more guilt, a lot more shame, a lot more anger built up, angst built up. It's got to be a lot of the reason why so many of us are on drugs or alcohol or committing suicide and just, feeling like we're living a compromised life and we're not fulfilling what it is we need to be fulfilling. So really think about the 3 primary types of goals that you're going to be achieving in your life on an ongoing basis regularly. You'll always be achieving short-term goals, like making breakfast, making dinner, getting ready for bed, going to bed, brushing your teeth. These short-term goals cannot be discounted. They can't. I mean, they become characteristics and characteristically define our lives. And so you put those types of principles in place, and then 35 years later, 40 years later, you retire. 45 years later, you retire. But in between there, you can't forget to work on your medium-term goals and your long-term goals a little bit. So think about Craigslist marketing, thinking about going door to door to business owners. It doesn't take much. It's just, hey, my name's Bret Martin. Here's a flyer from our company. It's Mom and Pop Business Funding. We go up to $1 million. We close these loans in 1 to 2 days, oftentimes the same day as the application. If you need any unsecured working capital from your company in the future, keep me in mind. Don't sit there and say to them, do you want to do this, for God's sakes? That's the worst approach on the face of the planet. Just act like you're going to do a leave behind. I even have people who go out and actually say, hey, I'm dropping this off on Bret's behalf, back when I was in production. Or I've suggested it to other people, hey, I'm dropping this off on Joe's behalf or Rebecca's behalf or Tessa's behalf. And they don't know it's Tess that's actually dropping it off. They don't know it's actually Joe or Bob or me that was dropping it off, because a lot of people are embarrassed to go door to door. So act like you're someone else dropping a flyer off for that person. And it's easier for you to give the spiel too. And by the way, throw it over your shoulder. Hey, if you're interested, or if the business owner is interested in any unsecured working capital, give us a yell. So Bret's contact information, or Joe, or whoever you're marketing for, or yourself, if it's you just say, not my information, because you're trying not to look like it's you, but you use your name in first person. Joe's contact information's on the bottom of the flyer in the event you need any working capital. Now, don't be afraid to stretch your wings a little bit and fly and go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting. Look them up. The Chamber of Commerce meetings are always free. The first 2 or 3, they let you come for free. The beauty of it is most cities nowadays have an east side or a west side, or an east side and a west side. I'm sorry, not east or a north side and a south side. They've usually got 2 sides, oftentimes 4 sides, north, south, east, and west. And you can hit all 4 of those up. Those are different Chamber of Commerce meetings. Same with the Rotary. I haven't had good luck. Anyone had any real good luck with Le Tips, but it's out there. It's another one of those. If you want, you can at least get your feet wet, public speaking wise. Now, again, I touched on this earlier in my past video about myself and the anxiety that I felt going out on cold calls, especially initially. Telemarketing is the same way back in the day. I would get the dry heaves. It seemed like I would have to get the stars to align, maybe, candles, incense. It's so funny, the rituals we put ourselves through are ritualistic behavior that we put ourselves through to get ourselves ready. So just keep in mind whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Because the bottom line is, once you get that done, you're going to feel so good about what you've done, especially if, and when you land something. And quite honestly, preparation's the key. Bring your body and your mind will follow. What's going to happen is you're going to get lucky. Some of you could easily say to me, well, Bret, it's a numbers game. It's really not a numbers game. Once you understand that what we have is needed so badly. It's needed so badly. Let me sit up a little bit. It's needed so badly. And it's so unavailable, It's creeping up right now. It's a little over 94%. It's creeping up on 95% of all business loans right now are being denied by banks, credit unions, major banks, credit unions. So these alternative sources like what you're offering through Mom and Pop brand are what are available. They're just what are available right now. And it's been that way and gotten worse since I got in this industry in 2007. When I started, if you look at my website, subprimebusinessfunding.com, that's one of the last bastion websites I've got out there from years ago, subprimebusinessfunding.com. You'll see on there, I'm talking about 74 to 75% of all banks are turning down small business owners and medium-sized business owners for their business loans. And that's back in 2007, 2008, 2009, when my ex-wife was running a key bank and then eventually went over and started running a Wells Fargo. Now, again, that's a good option for some of you. It's an unbelievable option for some of you. I know a lot of you are doing really well with banks. And then a lot of you have not been trained on that, which is really unfortunate. But my strength is coming back right now. I've found that my voice seems to have mellowed out. I can't get as loud. And, I don't know. A lot of people like me loud. A lot of people don't like me loud. I try to do the training loud at least the first couple days because I know I'm dealing with trying to get in your head a little bit. But what I'm going to do in this next week is I'm going to put together a time where probably give you a couple options and we can go over bank loan turndowns. I've not gone over bank loan turndowns now since COVID started. I think it was probably like 6, 7, 8 weeks after COVID went into lockdown. I quit training on bank loan turndowns. And again, that's a great market. And I mentioned it the other day. I mentioned it again in this video. The bottom line is you're not going in and saying to a manager, can I have your clients? It doesn't work that way. It's not going to work. Trust me. That's not how it's going to work. They're not going to give you a social security number. They're not going to give you an application. They're not going to give you bank statements. They're going to give you a referral. That's what they're going to give you. And why would they give you a referral? They're going to give you a referral because what they're saying is, I'm sick and tired of telling people no. And you're going to tell them that. You're going to say, listen, I'm an alternative for you. You no longer have to tell these people no. Now you can say, hey, we're not able to service you. We're not going to be able to do a loan for you. But we have an option. There's a company out there that says that they can get this done for you. It's more of a non-conforming environment. They're not going to need tax returns. It'll strictly go off bank statement. The cost of money will be a little more expensive, if not more expensive. But the bottom line is there is an option. And that way, when they have to make that bad call to that business owner that's been banking with their bank for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10, 15 years to tell them no, it lets them down knowing that they've been turned down, and they get real down, and they oftentimes will get really angry at the bankers, and the bankers, because of it, will actually avoid making that call, sometimes a day or 2 or 3 or 4 days. They don't want to go into the weekend making that call to their clientele because it ruins their own weekend. Business owners end up yelling at them because they've been in the pipeline 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 days, 100 days. We've heard these horror stories, and then they get a no. And so this is an opportunity for you where you're giving them an option at something that they wouldn't ordinarily have. So I'm going to talk about that in the coming days in a class. I think it's a good class. I get good rapport out of most of the people that take that class. I started teaching that class in September 2009. I didn't quit, like I said, until they started locking down for COVID. But anyway, listen, keep it real out there, folks. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. It was Hadrian that said, when he was having his crew rebuild Rome, brick by brick, my citizens. Brick by brick. He didn't say wheelbarrow by wheelbarrow or truckload by truckload. So you're out there. I know it's lonely sometimes. I know what it's like. But what you got to do is you got to do a little bit of this, like Craigslist 10 emails or 10 black envelopes or 2 or 3 calls door to door or 2 or 3 telemarketing calls. And then just take a moment in time and thank yourself for what you've done, even if you haven't been successful. Step 7 on my keys to success. Feel that sense of fulfillment, like, hey, I'm proud of myself. I did it. And that's kind of where I'm at in reflective mode right now. It was a rough week, folks. I mean, most people get put in the hospital with aspirated pneumonia. That's enough in and of itself. I think I actually worked this week. I would venture to say, I'm looking at the clock and the calendar. I would venture to say I probably worked a good solid 45 to 50 hours this week minimum. And then on top of it, I did house stuff. I ran my dogs, my yellow labs. Each of the days I wasn't in the hospital, since I spoke to you last in video, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day. I run them. I go up to a big field and run them. And it's just a 5-10 minute walk, or I walk out in the field and let them do their thing and really appreciate the air and the views I've got here in Southern Oregon. The mountains are amazing surrounding us. And it gives me, I've always been that way, by the way. Even when I was in the mortgage industry, beginning in this industry, throughout my time in this industry, I've always gotten away. Get in my SUV, get in my car, go to the river, take a break, go to the mountain quick, take a break. Mountains meaning, 20 minutes out of town, any town I lived in, I've always lived that, where I could go get myself 30 minutes worth of time. And don't feel guilty about that time, whatever you do, unless, of course, you're constantly doing that stuff and not getting around to getting the job done at hand. So anyway, I hope you finished this week strong. I hope you're not lying in bed just in the fetal position, just clinging to life. But hey, listen, I've been there. I know what it's like. If you need a cold beer, just get a cold beer and calm down and quit listening to everyone else yelling and screaming at you. If you need to take a bong hit, go take a bong hit. Pot's legal in most states nowadays. Just, for God's sakes, go easy on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself, especially if you're someone who was raised in a family with a heavy fist and you've been involved in, maybe sensory overload or those types of environments where you have a tendency to run hot and cold when it comes to guilt and shame. So work on that step 7 on the keys to success. Number 1 step, set a goal. You're going to be setting goals. You've already set them for tomorrow. They're already in place. You've got short-term goals. You've got medium-term goals. You've got long-term goals. So set a goal. Make a plan for that goal. Ask yourself a question. Do you really believe in the plan? And if you really believe in that plan, put that plan in action. And then don't deviate from that plan, step 5. Don't deviate. When we deviate from the plan, we feel guilt-laden. We feel shame-based. We feel compromised. And that's what throws us deeper into the dark hole. So make your goals obtainable. Make your goals obtainable so you can feel that sense of relief when you put the plan in action. And then step 6, don't deviate from the plan. But if you do deviate, don't be afraid to put the plan back in action. Take a break. Brush yourself off. Go have a sandwich. Go have a nacho. Go have a beer. Get a glass of wine. Get some apple juice. Get an orange juice. Have a swim. Take a bath. Take a shower. Get a massage. Do some yoga. Get some meditation. And then just get back in the game again. Don't deviate. Put step 6 back in place. Don't deviate. Step 5, put plan back in place Ask question, do you believe in plan? Right there, put plan in action. And then step 7, always think about it. I'll close right here. I'm 25 minutes in. Step 7, you've always had to have your ritualistic dance. This is symbolic and going back in time thousands and thousands and thousands of years, back when we were grunting and clicking and whistling. You know, the bottom line is you've got to have that sense of relief and fulfillment where you accomplished your goal today. Yes, I made 3 phone calls, or yes, I did 10 Craigslist or 100 Craigslist, or yes, I did make it to a Chamber of Commerce meeting, and it was enlightening for me. And so take a moment in time and thank yourself. And if it was a day where you spent in preparation getting flyers ready, commend yourself for that. But find something little to commend yourself for, or medium or big. If you've got something big, by all means. I mean, I think I had a big week. I really do. I rate my week as an A+ this week, you know, from the standpoint that if I would have gone back to my 20s and 30s and maybe early 40s, maybe 42, 43, and I would have been hospitalized, all hell would have broke loose, and that's all I would have done this week. And that's all I would have talked about, and I probably wouldn't have made it back to work, and I would have just been a mess. But instead, you know, follow the doctor's lead, and the one thing they're really talking to me about with the cancer, and in addition, once I got the aspirated food into my lungs and got the pneumonia, was fatigue. Just watch yourself with your fatigue, give yourself breaks, take rest when you need. And what's interesting is my body is really adapting well to this. You've seen me without my shirt on. I'm not in that great a shape, but I was losing weight because I'd gone off of sugar for quite a few months and was down almost 20 pounds before I got into this cancer, never realizing I was going to get cancer. So that's really been beneficial to me, I think, with the work I did there. And I'd been on a stair stepper for quite a few months at the gym. But anyway, peace. Happy Friday night. Seize the weekend. Let's close here. Seize the weekend. Do something this weekend. Go to the river, skip a rock. Go for a hike. Get with your gal, get with your guy, get with your guy friend, get with your girlfriend. Get with your children, get with your mom, get with your dad, get with your pastor. Get with your Boy Scout leader, get with your Girl Scout leader, get with your rabbi, get with your priest, get with somebody. Be with somebody. Share the human experience this week with someone, especially if you're kind of nomadic, which can happen really easily nowadays. I mean, they say that we're lonelier than we've ever been, and we're living right next to each other. So love and kindness in each of your direction. I hope you had a wonderful week. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I hope to see you back here next week, Monday, starting in, busting butt, getting ready between now and then for a wonderful week next week. Those of you that funded loans, I have to tell you something. It's a trip for me. This journey started with me being upset in 2007 because my wife was divorcing me and I did not want to pay her child support and alimony out of my retirement funds and my cash on hand. So I started this company. Never did I, in my wildest dreams, did I think that every month we would do more business the following month than we did the month prior, forever. And once again, we're on record pace for a record month again to beat last month and the month before, et cetera, all the way back to 2007. So it's a celebration for me, folks, that I continually have to remind myself of this is what I wanted. You know, and there's an old saying, be careful what you wish for. For me, everything I've ever wished for has come true pretty much. And the things that didn't come true in the end proved to me that I never needed them anyway and or deserved them. And I'm perfectly fine with that. So hopefully a little bit of this can help some of you out there with your lives. Keep the emails coming. I can't begin to tell you, Joel and Tess and Bradley and Bonnie and Presley and, you know, I don't know what to say, folks. You're touching my life. You're touching my life. And I know you're giving back to me. And I know I've given to you over the years a lot. I have. I I'm not bragging here. You know, I give 100% of myself at all times. I just do. And what a feeling it is to see this coming back to me in groves with your positive affirmations and your comments and your suggestions. And yeah, those of you that need to know it for whatever reason, I'm a believer. I keep it really close to myself, my relationship with God, my Creator. And the primary reason behind it is I don't need to hear everyone's, opinion on God, Creator. I just don't. I'm so far past it. It's unreal. I'm melded into where I'm at in my life. So if you send me some scripture, it's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's fine with me, and I appreciate it. Anyway, all of you, again, peace, love, and kindness in your direction. Seize the weekend. It's 8:46 p.m. West Coast time, 11:46 p.m. East Coast time. Get your weekend underway if you haven't already. Bye-bye now.